Hi guys, it's Rick Shiels down here at Quest Golf Academy here at Prairie Sports Village. I've got my hands on the new Callaway X Forged irons to test. I've got the 7, the 4 and the pitching wedge to test with Pro V1s on GC Quad. I've just tested the Apex MB irons, worth checking them out on my channel. The link is already up there in the corner. They're the true blades. The X Forged are definitely a slightly more cavity version of those. They are in the same family line, but they have now got more perimeter weighting than the Apex MB. It's a forged iron and man does it look sharp. It looks so sharp. The lofts are typically 1 degree stronger, certainly in the middle irons. So this 7 iron is 33 degrees of loft compared to the Apex MB, which is actually 34, but still traditional lofts as they come, as traditional as they come. Let's give this a hit. From every angle, this looks smart. This looks so clean. It's not too much going on. You've got the slightly more dulled out chrome on this. It's not as glaring chrome compared to the Apex MB. Slightly more dull version of it, which I still think is very, very nice. It's not as mirrored, it's not shiny. I like the angles and I like the sharp edges around the back. It's got a little bit of protection where the Callaway symbol is to help with centered strikes and a little bit more protection towards heel and toe. Let's give this a hit. I'm looking forward to this. This is a good looking iron, very good. It's just got a slightly more bigger frame, bigger positioning than the MB, slightly thicker top line, slightly longer blade length. It looks very, very nice in fairness. Let's give this a hit. 33 degrees. I've just moved the flag to 180. So I think this is going to carry nearer to the mid 170s. Oh, that's come out lovely. Oh, that ball flight is all over it. Oh, it's not actually carried quite as far as I thought it might have done. That's actually still carried in there at 173, I think that was. Ball flight was sensational. So high. Seemed like it had a lot of spin on it as well, just from the initial flight of the ball coming out the range here. Oh, wow. 7,000 spin. Not seen that for a 7-iron for a long time. Strike location there, pretty much in the middle, just slightly from the toe. Line looks a bit odd here for me on that one for some reason. Yeah, great numbers. 170 carry distance there. It's not maybe as far as I was anticipating. Might just be that one shot. Let's go again. Yeah, it's gone really high again. You know what, this doesn't seem like it's going to carry that 1 extra yard, isn't going to pick me up 3 extra yards. 1 extra degree, sorry, stronger. I was presuming might just throw me in there at like 175 carry. Doesn't seem to be the case. It actually seems very similar carry distances than the Apex MB. But the spin rate, oh my goodness, 7.5 RPM. They are really good numbers. They are just going up to space. Launch seems high. Whether they've got a bit more weighting down at the bottom of this golf club, but they just seem to be going straight up with loads of spin, great ball flight, amazing feel off the head. They're ticking a lot of boxes. Maybe not on a windy day. That sort of height may not be quite as valuable on a very windy day, but 3 good golf shots there so far. Average carry distance, that went up a little bit. That carried at 175, but it went slightly left. Average carry distance sits back in there at 172. And comparing that to the Apex MB, so similar. I mean, we're only talking 1 degree. I didn't think it was going to be loads, but they're right next to each other. Let's go one more with the 7. Slightly left of target, but another good hit. Might just catch the front edge of the green, this one. Yeah, I think I slightly anticipated a carry distance in more the 175 region, which I didn't quite get. But I'm also not disappointed about that because the 4 shots of the carry distances were all super similar. I think 4 good strikes there. I'd be really interested to see the numbers. Let's have a look at the 4 shots that I've just hit because they seemed very impressive. So we see here along the bottom column, 172 being the carry distance on average. The first couple just in around that 170 mark. The next 2, maybe because I slightly hit them left, jumped up into the low 170s. Again, nothing wrong with that, 172. Comparing that to the Apex, just so because I've got the numbers up on screen, we see that 3 yards of difference than maybe what I kind of thought would happen. I thought that 3 yards of extra distance was going to happen on the top line number, but it didn't. It kind of happened on the average number. Good numbers, really good. Spin rate. Now this is incredible. I've not seen a 7-iron spin like this for a long time. Just with the loss going so strong recently, we've been struggling to see good spin numbers. This hits it right on the number. Just under 7,000, 6,999, 6,990 RPM spin over the 4 shots on average. The highest one was up there at 7.5. Peak height, 36 yards up in the air, but it kind of just went up and stayed up and spun really nicely. And tremendous descent angle. If you're playing on, you play out in the States, or if you play on a golf course where you don't get too much wind, you want the ball to stop quickly, and you can strike a golf club, this has got to be right in that top list of clubs that you're looking for, because it's done everything that you'd want from that set. If maybe you played more of a linksy type golf course, or the greens were not as receptive or didn't spin as much, or I was trying to get the right blend. I think if it was windy, you wouldn't want these clubs because they seem to just be going up and spinning high. And if you don't strike them well, you wouldn't want these clubs because I think that you would get punished with that. You'd end up pulling a lot of club shots short of the green. Let's move back to 4-iron next. I'm going to pull this back to 200 yards again like I did with the Apex MB. So the 4-iron, like the MB, is the same loft. It's 23 degrees, and again, helping with that blended set. I think a lot of players will go from X Forged into the Apex MB. This looks like another great looking club. You know what I really like? The chrome which is brushed on this, the black Callaway symbol and the black X Forged stands out. And then that's it. There's no other colour patterns. So for me, the much more timeless looking golf clubs, they'll last a lot longer because the colours won't go out of fashion. Let's say their Epic range, or with that green and the other colours that are mixed into that, I think they go out of fashion quite quickly. This doesn't seem to be the case. I always imagine these in 5 years still looking as fresh as what they do now. Yeah, I like them a lot. Good sit behind the ball, so 23 degrees, 200 yards. And that's right down the throat of it. Yeah, landing right next to the pin at 200 yards. I think that was maybe even a groove low on the head. 200 yards carry, 211 total distance, only 3 yards offline. And I do believe it was just maybe a groove too low on the strike location. Slightly toey. See what that one's done. That's right down it again. I've got to be impressed. I've just got to be impressed because the numbers are backing up what the clubs are designed for. They're doing exactly what the player who's going to be using this golf club is looking for. They're not looking for loads of forgiveness. They'll be looking for a good-looking iron that is a bit more timeless, that hits it the distance they want to hit it, not too far, and spin well and feel great. Tick on every single point on that list. Yeah, a tiny bit left, but nothing much. I possibly don't get the feeling that I can shape this one as well. I don't feel like I want to be able to sit this open and shape it as much. But not that you can't, it's just the feeling I don't feel as confident as I was doing with the real blade. Let's try one. Let's try and really open the blade length up on this and try and cut one in, a big high cut. Oh yeah, I'm going to struggle to really get that cut in. It's trying its best, but I'm really struggling to actually make that cut more. It's not a bad thing. Feels a little bit more stable on the strike. Okay, let's move to pitching wedge. I've actually got a pitching wedge in the X Forge, which is good. Let's give that a hit. Okay, so pitching wedge now with the X Forged. And it's funny actually. This pitching wedge looks a little bit more rounded, almost a bit more like a spoon shape. Not as in line with what I feel like the other irons were. It just feels a little bit more bubbly. And it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it belongs to the same set, weirdly. 45 degrees of loft, where the blade is 47 degrees of loft, even though I didn't have that one. Let's give this a hit. I've only got this flag at 130. There you go. It's not quite gimme. Don't give me that one, anybody watching. Gotta hold that one. Straight down the line of it, felt good. Felt exactly the same as the other irons so far, which have all felt so good. It just looks a bit more odder shape, this pitching wedge. I think a lot of players would probably go for the Apex MB wedge over the look of this one. It's worked out well again. Let's go one more, split the difference between those two, and I'll be more than happy. That could be right down the neck of it. Oh, it's gone a tiny bit left. Tiny bit left and weirdly long. Like I've really airmailed that one. Like I need one more of those ones. It's an odd one, that. It seems to just come out and not really spin a great deal. It's gone like 10 yards further, which is not what we want to see with a wedge. Spin rate dropped down a little bit, maybe 800 RPM less. Not great spin numbers on a wedge, if I'm honest. Seeing that everything else has been very much... This just feels like it's from the wrong set, this pitching wedge. Doesn't feel like it's in the right family. I think a tip to anybody buying this set is make sure you have a look at the wedge. Just see if it suits your eye, because sometimes I think swapping this for an actual specialised wedge, so one of like the Matt Daddy wedges in a 45, 46 degree wedge, probably suit more golfers. I don't know, it just doesn't quite fit my personal eye, yet I've loved all the other golf clubs in the range there so far. And it doesn't seem to be performing quite as brilliantly, oddly enough. But that's just the pitching wedge, it's only my opinion on that. Callaway X Forged irons. They look timeless, they look very classic. A little bit more going on with the Callaway X Forged than there was the Apex MB, but still hits every single checkpoint for a player who wants a club like this. Normally looking for a good player, normally looking for a player who wants that control of ball flight, that extra bit of spin, that extra bit of flight control, being able to shape it right and left and high and low if necessary, and one that feels just as butter soft as these have done today. Guys, thanks for watching the video. If you've enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Love to hear your thoughts down below. Which one of the two Callaway irons are you more kind of gravitating towards if you had to choose one? Is it the Apex MB or would it be the X Forged? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Or is it neither of them? I'd still love to hear your thoughts. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It's the red button down there. Keeps you free connected to my channel so you don't miss any single videos. Loads more videos to come, loads more reviews to come. That was the Callaway X Forged iron, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and that is me done.